Hello friends, good evening to all of you and welcome to the JTC YouTube live classes, or not exactly YouTube live classes, you can say that is the Servlet live classes. Today we are starting up with the Servlet, and before starting the Servlet we have gone through the topics of JDBC, that is almost we have completed it, and now we are going to start up with the Servlet. We are going to start the Servlet. What we are going to discuss is based on two things we are going to discuss. Number one is the traditional approach, what we have seen and what we used to go through, that is XML based Servlet, XML based, and the second one, when we say in the JEE approach, basically we used to understand two things here. Number one is Java and J2EE. Now when I talk about Java, J2EE, so J2EE is the older versions, and at present we are not studying, but you say it is so popular that everyone used to call it as an J2EE itself, correct? So I'll just make it clear here that we are not talking about the J2EE at present. We are talking about the upgraded version of J2EE, which is JEE, you can say JEE, correct? And when I say that is JEE, so JEE starts from 5, 6 and 7, that correspondingly it will keep on going it. So we are talking about these all things here, correct? So whenever as such I am saying about the JEE, there is an important concept comes across, which is an annotation based. What is that? Annotation based. Now when I am saying here XML based and annotation based, so this is not exactly the time to discuss what exactly annotation based and what exactly XML based. I am not even talking about that, but I'll just give you one small introduction about all these things, that whenever we are writing any kind of Servlet examples, so that all complete Servlet components, different components, whatever we are writing, that we are configuring inside this web XML, there will be a specific name which we will be calling it as a web XML. We will call here, this is the specific name of that. We will be calling this one as a web XML, correct? At the same time now, in a modern programming languages, people were trying to reduce the code as much as possible and not to write a very big and lengthy and this kind of code. So in that case, annotations are really very helpful in that case to reduce the XML code what we were writing inside that. Okay, so some of you might be aware with some of the web programming, and in most of the places there is the XML web XML is available here, and XML, well, we will see it is a very important component. So kind of things what we will say it is that inside the XML we are providing the metadata. What we are saying? Metadata. So the same kind of metadata can be written with the help of which is called as annotation. So see, if you will say, sir, this is the first class and in the first class itself you are talking about the web XML and annotation. No, not exactly. I am not talking about all that. Here at present I am just trying to give you the things what we are going to discuss in the case of Servlets, correct? So this is what I have explained. I have told you that the two major important parameters what we are going to discuss with reference to the Servlet, and on the Servlet we will be covering, that is XML based Servlet as well as the annotation based Servlet here, right? So the question what it comes here is, sir, what exactly Servlet is? What exactly Servlet is? How we are going to what we are going to talk about the Servlet here? See, so see, I'll write few of the things. What is that few of the things I'm going to write now here? Say the very first one is, if I'm saying, see, I'll write here that is the core Java. What is that now? Core Java I am writing, fine. So especially in the case of core Java, there are the number of different versions. They have given the basic problem solving different APIs which can be used in a number of places, and it is being used exactly. In the next case now, here second one when I am saying is the JDBC. Third one we are calling it as an Servlet, and the fourth important part is the JSP. Initially any developer related to the Java, or those whoever are learning the web frameworks and like Strut, Spring, even you talk about Hibernate, right, Spring Boot, all these things. Whenever you are going through that, or you are going in the maybe EJB, JMS, JTS, JPA, JAS, JWT design patterns, when you are going in all these technologies, when you are talking about all these sort of things, so in that important question what it comes is whether you are comfortable with the first is the core Java or not. Because when you are going for any interview, any company interview, in that most of the interview first initially for few rounds you are going to get from the core Java, and once they will make sure that you are okay with the core Java, then only they will be proceeding it further. Well, coming to the next one, that if you are okay with that, so JDBC is what, and what exactly you are already now aware with the JDBC part also. So when I am saying it is a database, it's a database when I am saying. So this JDBC helps to get the connection with the database. It is getting connected with the database, correct? Now, at present what we were talking about, we were not talking much about the what is server side, what is client side. We were not talking at all about all these things. But now, when I am talking about the web, when I am talking about the web-based things, so in web-based things, there are few important components. What is that few important components we are exactly talking about? So the few important components is the client side, second one is the server side. These two are the very important things, that what you are going to use at the client side, what you are going to use at the server side, correct? So see, as in the client side, generally what we see is the user interface sort of things, that with which you are going to interact with an applications, and usually we will be calling it as an client side technologies, correct? There are the number of technologies what we have for the client side, which we can call it as an HTML, HTML5, JavaScript again it works in the both side. Well, so I am not much talking about the JavaScript, because this will be a controversial statement specifically about the JavaScript, because JavaScript again is a different kind of things and sort of a scripting language. So in that we can talk about the JSP, correct? Now we have different now components of related to the something Angular and all also, right? So out of that here, so client side at present we are using, that is the basics of, or you can say JSP we will be using for initial one, and something related to the HTML we are going to use, correct? Now those who are having knowledge of HTML or JSP, well and good, and as well those who are not having knowledge of HTML or JSP, then also it is well and good, because for initial things related to the HTML and all things I will be giving you, and I will be, whenever I am writing the examples in that particular examples, I will be talking something related to the HTML also, which is a basic working functionalities related to the HTML, and then correspondingly I will be coming to the JSPs when it is required in that. So don't worry about all that. So this is the basically a client side technologies which we are talking about. Next one, when I say it is on server side, so initially first we are starting with the server side technology, and categorically more focused on the server side technology, which is the Servlet we are calling. Servlet, as well as JSP also I am saying it is an server side technology, right? So Servlet as well as the JSP. Now when I say Servlet, let's talk very specific to the servlet. So servlet is a server-side technology which is used to handle the request what is coming from the client side, and based on that request what is coming from the client side, it starts processing depending on the logic what you have written inside that, correct? So that is what the basically servlet we are saying here and we are talking about, right? So we will come to this servlet. So first we need to see that either I use servlet or I use core Java or I use JSP or whatever technologies as such I use it. What kind of applications can be written basically, and for which type of applications servlet and this set of technology is going to be well suited for that, correct? That is one important thing here, right? So we need to understand that very specifically, that what all different types of applications are there, and out of all that applications, in which applications these all set of technologies fits exactly, correct? So now guys, can you tell me what all different set of types of, you can say, applications you have heard about, correct? So whatever applications you have heard about, write it in the comment box or else write it in your chat box, live chat, if this class when it is going on live, so you can write it in the live chat, correct? So these all are the different types of whatever the applications we are writing and all the sort of things which we are doing it. So you can just mention these all things inside that, okay? So I'll come to the what all the different types of applications are there, and out of all these applications where exactly servlet, JSP and this set of core Java fits. But again, now when I say specifically about the servlet, so let's have some working functionalities related to the servlet. So again, in one line I'll just conclude it, that what I am going to conclude here is, say, we are talking about the servlet. Now it's a server side technology. What is this? Servlet is the server side technology, okay? But remember, it is a technology. It is a technology. When I say technology, so here one important questions might be you are getting the technology. The number one point related to the technology is, what is that number one point? The number one point is technology, and second one is the framework. So here when we are learning the Java, so in these things what you can say is the technology which has been given by, the one which is given by Sun Microsystem. Sun Microsystem, initially you can say it's a Sun Microsystem, but now it's an Oracle. So the one which has been given by Sun Microsystem, or now what you can say in the existing scenario, what you can say is the something called as the Oracle we are talking about. So Sun Microsystem or Oracle, fine. So this is two things which is very important. Either we are talking about Sun Microsystem, so the technology which is the components which has been differently given by the Sun Microsystem, or you can say the Oracle, we are calling it as a technology, especially when we say about the core Java, when we say about the you can say Servlet, JSP and all, these all has been given by the Sun Microsystem, correct? But at the same time, now there are different set of frameworks, like you talk about Struts 1, Struts 2, Spring, Spring Boot, Hibernate, correct? These are all different frameworks has been introduced in order to solve some of the specific problems, or you can say that is the enterprise level problem or the business problems, what we were getting difficulty in order to solve with the help of these basic technologies. So what they have done is, these are all different vendors. Vendors when I am saying, so either it is Apache, Red Hat or something like that. Again, there are the other vendors also. So they agreed that we will write a different set of APIs just to solve the some of the problems related to the different developers community, correct? Now, but for that, they haven't developed their basic API. Basic API they have not developed here, right? So these are all different basic API who has developed and it's been developed by whom. So this all basic APIs whatever we are having has been, they are using these all API. It depends, either they are using core Java API, they are using, you can say, the Servlet API, they are using JSP things, correct? And based on that all things, they have written their own codes. They have written their own code. They have written their own variety of other components which could help the developers community to solve a specific problems here. And when I say these all are open source, these all things are the open source. Open source, when I say, it means that even if you are writing also some good components related to that corresponding framework things, and if they also feels or anybody else also can include that your code or problem solving code in their applications depending on the requirement if they feel it. So that is, everyone can contribute something to that, correct? So these different frameworks has been developed on the basis of these given technologies, whatever these technologies are available here. So that's what we are calling it as a framework here, right? So at present, now when I say it is a servlet also, so servlet initially what the API they are following it from the core Java itself. Whatever the basic API has been given for all that, they are following the same thing inside this. They are not using anything else, or they are not using anything differently, something like that. No, nothing like that. They all are following these all different basic API which has been given by that corresponding technology provider, and based on that, so in most of the technology, whichever their parent company is there, they have developed some API, and based on that API, that corresponding technology providers or different vendors, those who are working in that corresponding category or that working in that corresponding sector, they have developed their own frameworks, right? So this is one introductions what you've got about the, you can say, that is a framework and technology, correct? So as I say here is that we are talking about now what is next. Now again I am coming to the point, which is the servlet we are talking. It's a server side component. What is that now? It's a server side. So before starting with this now, let's discuss about some of the, what you can say, the different types of applications. So let's first understand some different types of applications, and then we will go through the other things also. So we will understand first what all different types of applications what we are having at present, and based on these all different applications, we will understand what is the things which is available here. And see here, the documents which as I am going to show you here, this all will be available with you all, correct? So you can just go through that all the documents which is available here. So instead of just, in order to save the time, already we have created the documents. So same thing as such, I am just sharing my screen to all of you so that you can just go through the different, what all the different. Have a look now here, guys. In this, what is the first one is, when I talk about types of applications, when I am talking about the types of applications, so specifically we have the following types of applications, and which is an 5 types of applications we are having. One is standalone applications, client server applications, web applications, distributed applications, and enterprise applications. I'll read it out once again for you. What is that? One is the standalone applications. Hope you are understanding it. What is standalone applications? I'll be just explaining it to you all. Client server applications, web applications, distributed applications, and enterprise application. When I say standalone applications, so in general, what we see as a standalone application here, see, here as such I have written into this, the application that can be accessed by a single user, applications which can be accessed by a single user at a time itself, which means that one applications, if we have any sort of applications we are having, every time we use different kinds of application, like your as already I have written into this, that is your music player, some audio player, and number of systems what we found in our systems, like Word and all the Word documents and all, we are using it individually, you can say. What we are using? We are using all these things individually, and if we are using all these things individually at one time, correct? At one time when we are using, individually when we are using. Are you getting my point? We are using all these things individually. Means when I am using that particular application, at the same time somebody else should not be able to use the same applications from the same source. When I am saying same applications might be being used at n number of places, we cannot control that. But when I am saying it as in a same applications, when I am saying it as in something like the same application, which means that the installation of application is there at one place, and if it is there at one place, so it can be used by one person itself at a time. The installation of application at one place and that cannot be used by the multiple users, multiple persons at the same time, that is highly impossible, you can say. We cannot do that. We cannot use it like that, correct? So we cannot get it into this. We cannot go through all these things here. We cannot write it. We cannot use it in that format. So when I talk about the applications, when I talk about something like that, when I am talking about something in that particular form, particular way, so actually the thing what we are having here is that the applications, once we have installed at one place and we are using at that corresponding one person itself, if it is using, that's what we will call it as a standalone application here. Here what I have given some examples of the standalone applications like MS Word, music player, like that. Now hope you can understand these all category of applications which is being used by a person at a time in a particular system itself. We will call it as in standalone applications. Means the functionality of that corresponding applications can't be used by the number of users at the same time. Now when I say about the demerits, or you can say the problems related to this corresponding applications, so the demerits and the problems related to these particular applications is what now? If we have some 1,000 systems, so all across 1,000 system, we just need to install these applications one by one, and somehow that may give some kind of maintenance problem, some kind of means always you understand that if n number of node of systems are there, and in all the nodes we are installing these different kinds of system or this one software, so some of may give some problem, and that problem we cannot guess it now itself that what kind of problem that particular applications and the particular system can give. We cannot, right? So all across what you have to do is, one, you need to talk about the type of applications, what problem we are facing, and at the same time we are talking about the corresponding system also in which we are installing. So the problem we may get it from the both side, correct? An important thing here, the key point what I have given is the data sharing among all these different applications what we have, either the n number of nodes of system wherever we have installed across among each other. It's somehow not possible at all. Different applications, different sort of things, whatever we are having, in all across that we cannot talk about data sharing or exchange of a data. Means if some kind of request somebody else is receiving at the same time, other cannot receive that same request, and in request to that corresponding request, in response to that corresponding request, it cannot give some kind of response. We cannot do that, or we don't have that kind of things, which is called as the, specifically we will be calling it as an you can say standalone applications, correct? So if you are getting any questions, please write us in the comment box. Now at the same time, guys, here we are having another different types of applications, which is what we are calling it as an client server applications. What is that client server applications? See, when I say that is the client server application, so I'll just read it out for you, and then accordingly I'll be explaining it for you. In case of client server application, applications can be divided into two parts. What is that two parts? One part will be installed in the server part or server machine, and second part will be installed in the different, you can say, the client machines, like the way we were installing the standalone applications, correct? Now once we have installed it, and there is one centralized server, so let's have a look for server applications here. Have a look now here, guys. Say for example, when I am writing few things here, see this is your particular server we are talking about. What we are talking about now? This is the particular server, fine. Some server I can represent in this format itself, correct? So this is the server what we have done into this, fine. Now, so as I said, our application which is there, application what we have is being divided into the two major parts. This application which is there has been divided into two major parts. The part number one, what we are saying, is the server side. Server side. And second one is the client side. So one I am saying is in server side, second one what I am saying is the client side into this case here. Are you getting my point? So one, whatever as I am saying is the server side, the second one which I am saying is the client side, correct? Now, what is the role of this client side? First, understand here. Who is the client? For any kind of applications, for any kind of things, the client is the person who is using it, or that corresponding software or application for whom it is. So for whom it is, for us it is, correct? So we are the client first. We are the client. So what we will do, we will be interacting with this one. We will be users are going to interact with this client application. Users are going to interact with this different sort of client applications. We are going to interact. With whom we are going to interact? With these corresponding clients we are going to interact. Let's understand it here. We are going to interact with these corresponding clients in these cases. We are interacting with all of them. We are interacting with them. Here with these users, whoever is the users which is available here. So these users are interacting with these corresponding clients, correct? Now, so with the help of client, so see here, I'll do something here. We are writing here the, or let's say I'm giving the client C1 name. Here I'm giving C2. Here I'm giving C3. Here I'm giving C4. Like that, there could be the Cn. There are n number of other clients what we are having. C1, C2, C3, C4, C5 until Cn. There are n number of different set of clients are available inside this. Is that okay? Now when I say this different clients, so see, in this what is this clients are, and what is this part of, so see here, as I said, it is a server. So server is here installed in a centralized machine. It's a centralized machine. It's been installed, correct? So here what I am saying here is, with this clients, whatever these clients we are having, all are connected with this server over their own individual things, however they are connected, correct? And now these C1s into are in different machines. M1 suppose it's been installed. Next, when I'm saying about M2 we have installed it, or when I'm saying here is the M3 we have installed it, or when I'm saying that is the M4 we have installed it, or here could be the MN we have installed it, correct? So in all these machines we have installed this different set of clients, right? And why we have installed, and now the user U1 is using maybe the M1 machine, user U2 is using another machine, user U3 is using this particular machine. Like that, there can be the n number of users which they are using this different set of applications. They all are using here this different set of applications here in all the different forms, in the different ways. So I am writing here, what is that I am writing now? M1, M2, M3, M4 and Mn, these all, and these n number of users which is available, U1, U2, U3, U4, U5, these all different set of users which is there, they are using this client through this machine in order to send or in order to get some services. So this server which is there, providing some list of services depending on the what type of your application is and what kind of services you are getting, it depends, and in every case it matters what applications and all sort of things you are getting here, right? So what this server is going to do now, this server what is there is having some set of processings, and with the help of this client they have defined their own services, that these all services we are ready to serve here, like login, log out, register, these all kinds of different kinds of services we may get here with the help of this client installation, and with that services this user U1 will be keep on interacting with the server. So here with this client itself, it is taking some kind of, or well I'll say here, some request you are able to raise with the help of this machine by using this client, correct? U1 is making, user is making some kind of request. To whom it is making some kind of request? It is making some kind of request to that corresponding server. These servers which is available, to these servers they are making some kind of request. Once when you are making some kind of request, when you are doing some kind of processing in these cases, so based on that whatever request you did, it will authenticate it, and as I said, it's some set of services which is being provided by this corresponding services or servers. Set of services in the sense, the user ID and password whatever you have given, it is correct or not. Whatever request you are doing, whether it is an authenticated relevant request or not, based on that it is going to send you the different, what is this now, response to you. And this all across all the clients which it is doing to. But again, what is the main problem in these cases? I hope you are understanding, is the client server model here, right? So these all clients are being guided or being served with this centralized servers what has been given here, correct? This is what we will call it as an client server applications. What we are calling it as an client server application. We are calling it as an client server application. Right? In this, if you are getting any sort of questions, any sort of doubts, you can please write it in the comment box again. Correct? Now, previously what we were having, the client server model type of applications, what we see is the Yahoo Messenger and something like this kind of client server model we were having, correct? And as I said it here, the problems related to all these things is the, in case of which one now, client server or in client software has to install across all the machines, and that may gives the some kind of maintenance problem as a client software feature, something like that here. So hope you are understanding this here, correct? Now again when I say about this, I am coming to the next type of applications what we are having. It's called as the web applications. What is that now? Web applications. So the problem associated with the client server model was what? That the different clients may give some or may get some maintenance issues. Different clients may get some kind of maintenance problem. Something like that they can get it here, correct? So if they are getting some kind of problem like this, so some sort of issues they may face, okay, that is fine. So here let's understand in some different scenario, in the different way of getting things here. So say here, to solve the problems with the client server application. What was the problem with the client server applications? Which was a maintenance problem associated with the different client machines. That is what the problem was. So to solve the problem with the client server application, web-based application is introduced and which runs on the www. What is that www? It is homework for you, correct? www is homework for you. You need to Google it, what exactly www, because I am not going to tell you at this time, correct? Because why I am saying this? Because every day, in every instance, every movement, everything, whenever you come across anything, what you will do is you will try to search something and you will get the result of that corresponding one, correct? So that's what I am saying here. I am not talking at present about the www. So let's okay. So order to solve the problem with the client server model, they introduced web applications and which is running on the base of www. In the case of what is this now? Web-based applications, application software will be installed on the web server machine only. So here, no need to install it into the client one. I'll come to this again. So application software, web application software which is there, we are installing that application software in a only one side, which is the server side. We are going to install it. We are installing it inside the server machine only. And multiple client can access the centralized web application using any web browser, which we will call it as an web clients, Now, when I say here, so see, there were some problems associated with the, what is that associated with the? I have just displayed it so that you all can read it out for you. So say here, two differently, you see here once, I am just explaining to you, guys, have a look. See the, in the web-based applications, what is that now I am saying? Which is a web-based application. This is the web-based applications what we are talking about now. In the case of web-based applications, on these machines, these all machines, we need not to install, what we need not to install here? We need not to install the, say here, this is your server machine, and whatever the completely web applications what we are having, web applications whatever we have, that we need to install it into the server side itself. We are installing into the server side itself, that we are going to install it here. Are you getting my point? We all are installing it into the server side model itself, server side application itself here. We are installing it into the server side, okay. Now here we are not talking about this corresponding client. There is no purpose of having the client here. We are not installing the client. See, we are not talking about these all clients. These all are the machines. These all are the machines, and in these machines, one form of web clients are available. Web client, or we can call it as an browsers. These all web browsers are available across all the machines. Web browsers are available across all the machines into these cases. Let's understand it here. So these web browsers are available across all the machines, whatever machines we are having at present. Correct? M1, M2, M3, M4, M5, these all web browsers, whatever we are having. So these machines, what we have at present, have installed, what they have installed it here, this M1, M2, M3, M4, all of them have installed. What they have installed here now? They have installed what they have installed in here? They have installed these corresponding web browsers. Web browsers, what web browsers you have at present? The web browsers what you are having at present is the Mozilla, Chromecast, Internet Explorer, n number of web browsers you may have in these cases. The different kind of web browsers you may get it all this way. In the different ways, in the different forms, you are having the different set of web browsers. And that is what we are now talking about. That's what we are calling it as a web browser. And I hope now you are understanding that point. What is this all corresponding web browsers are? Are you getting my point? So these are all different set of web browsers here we are specifically talking about, and that's what the thing which we are expecting here. Now again into this. Again inside this here, that is the web browsers we have, web M1, M2, M3, M4, M5. Like that way we are having, that is the MN we are having here. Across the different ways and the different forms, we all are having these all things. So there is no client. So what you can do, based on a web address, what web address we will be getting? Like www.jtcindia.org, www.gmail.com, google.com. These all are the URLs we have. Has been dedicated on in this server that will be registered with specifically with one kind of IP. Correct? So now whenever you will make the request, so we will explain what is the DNS server and all, how it works, what are the other functionalities related to this. So basically it solves the many problem. Number one, let me explain you what was that basic problem related to this. Few of the things what we are getting. The one what we were getting is, I hope it is visible to all. Fine. Okay. The number one point what we are getting is, see, it was the standalone application first. What I was talking about, the standalone application. In standalone applications, what was the problem? Data sharing not possible. Data sharing was not possible. And some kind of request and response model was, somehow it is not available. Data sharing was, and maintenance problem. Maintenance problem was there. If some problem occurred, so we need to maintain it. That is one problem. Second problem was with the client and server model. Client and server model, that across all the machines we need to install the clients, the client applications what we were having, and all of them has to be taken care separately for their different set of, what you will say, maintenance you need to take care. So that is one. Now here what we have is, see, the entire applications. Here it was being divided into the two parts. One is the server part and here is the client part. These two applications we were dividing it into the two different forms. One was the server part and second one was the client part. Here, getting it? Server part as well as the client part in both of the cases. Now then after we are having only the which one now? Web client based applications. When I am saying that is the web based applications here, so in the case of web based applications in these cases here, what we are next going to do? What is the further things we are going to achieve? That is also one important thing is associated with this. What is that important thing associated with this now? Now, understand here, what is the important thing guys now in this case? The important thing what we are talking about is M1, M2, M3, M4, M5, we are getting all these things, correct? We are getting all these sort of things here. Different kinds of web clients and all other sort of things we are getting across all these things associated with the different kind of set of things which we are having here in this, correct? So we are getting all these things, correct? And now when we have these all different set of things, different set of processes what we are having here in this, guys understand it here in these all modules. So with the help of web browser they can access it. So all these problem here is been solved in the case of web based applications. It's been solved in that case. In the web based applications these all problem has been solved. Here data sharing is possible, there is no maintenance problem, correct? And if any problem occurred here, that is server is not going to be responsible with that. So these all most of the problems which is there has been solved in the case of web based applications. So hope you are now okay with the web based applications guys here, correct? The different types of applications what next we are talking about, and you see here that is the web based applications can be implemented in the Servlet, JSP, struts, JSF, and again other technologies are also available. Data sharing is, yes, it is possible. No maintenance problem because modification will only happen at the server side. Modification you are not going to do, or you are not going to respond, you are not responsible to do kind of modifications at every place, every client and something like that. You are not doing at all these things. And since you are not doing all these things in the different applications in different forms, then there is no problem at all here. Now next one what we are getting is enterprise applications, or you can say that is the distributed applications. What exactly distributed applications are? You also can give the things here. So what is distributed application? Distributed application is a current trend in the companies which allows business partner to share their informations among them, which means that for a kind of, for the particular business things only they are designing it here. And next I am coming to the enterprise application. Why I am not going more into this? Because it is somehow not related to, just I am giving you one kind of sort of informations related to all this, and that you can go through this. Now when I am talking about enterprise applications, so what exactly these enterprise applications are? So enterprise application in the term used to describe the application or a software, what is this now? That a business would use to assist an organization in solving the enterprise problem. Here if you will see one word which is very frequently coming, which is what we are calling it as an enterprise, every time it is coming here, correct? So enterprise application is the term used to describe the application, or the what? Software is used to describe the application or the software that a business would use to assist an organization, assist the organization in problem solving. What kind of problem solving? Enterprise problems. So let's see what exactly enterprise problems are. So in that one we'll see, when the word enterprise is combined with the application, see we are talking about enterprise application, correct? So enterprise which is there has been combined with the, you can say the another word which we will call it as an application. So it usually refers a software platform that is too large and too complex for an individual or a small business to use, correct? So enterprise application is typically designed to interface or to integrate with the other enterprise application used within the organization, that is deployed across all variety of networks, which is intranet, internet, corporate networks, while meeting strict requirements, security administrations and managements. So here see, I have just given here the theory part guys, and well hope you can go through that, you can understand all these things. So I am not just giving much time on all these things. Now our major focus was, the majority things what we were focusing was, which one? That is the majority things what we were focusing was, it was the web application guys. What was that now? It was the web application here. The majority, this is what we were focusing where. This was the main important prospect of focusing the, which one now? It is the web applications, correct? Now when I say web applications, so specifically here, say have a look, when I am talking about the web application, so these web applications are something in a different forms, in the different modes which we are using it here. So these web-based applications, whatever we are having, this web-based applications whatever we are having here guys, understand it here now. The web-based applications we are having here, as I said, it is in the two parts. One part is server side, or you can say not two parts exactly. Web-based application which is there is having only one thing, the complete whole applications what we are talking about, whole application will be installed. What is that? Will be installed. Where it is going to be installed now? All this set of applications which is there will be installed in a, where it is going to be installed? Remember this point. These all things which is there will be installed in the server only. What is that now we are talking about? That is the server only will be installed here. These all applications, these all set of things which is available here will be installed in a server. Where it is going to be installed? In the particular server. Will be installed in the server here. Make it clear here now guys. Will be installed in a corresponding server here. Fine. So when I am talking about, so in this also two types of basic applications we will get when I am developing this web-based application. In this also two major category of applications what we are getting here. The one which I am saying here is the, which one now? Static application, and second one is the dynamic application. So one I am saying static application and second one is the dynamic application. In general what I am saying is what is a static application? A static application is that there are fixed set of response, for every kind of request. Means based on the behavior of a user, based on the behavior of a client, the response what you are going to get is not going to change in any case. That's what we are calling it as an static application. When I say dynamic application, so dynamic applications, depending on your particular kind of request, how you are making this raw request to the corresponding server, based on the request it is going to read it, analyze it, and based on that from the server side you are going to get the response differently in the different forms, in the different ways, and that is what we are now calling it as, what we are calling this one as is the dynamic application. What we are calling this one as a dynamic application. So have a look here. In static types of applications, say here, a static type of application, we will be same, as I said, we will be same for all the client, and the client cannot interact with the application. Means, as I said, that for every kind of request there is the same kind of response, correct? So client which is there is not going to interact, and interaction in the sense, see again, interaction, when I say, there are different level of interaction from your database to your business logic, from your business logic to the client side, there are again different level of interaction is there. So well, I'm not again so here you just understand that any sort of request what you are sending, you are going to get the same sort of response, and that's what we are calling it as an client side or client application, or sorry, static application. Well, in the case of dynamic applications or dynamic web applications, in this type of applications, client can send a data to the server. Fine, it is. I'll explain you what data we are talking about. I'll just first read it out for you. This is a kind of theory part which could be important for you. So application client can send data to the server, and that data will be processed depending on the processing of the response. Again, I'll read it. The type of applications, client can send the data to the server. Who is the client? You are the client. So you can send, if you are using that corresponding application. So if you are using that application, you can send some data to the client or to the server. Data will be processed. Depending on the processing, the response will give the client to view applications varies from the client to client, which means whatever the client request, whatever the client is requesting, based on that request, based on that corresponding kind of things, user is going to, or server is going to respond back in its own, in its different model, in the different forms. Whatever request as well as the response, different sort we are getting it here, based on that itself we are going to get the some output here, correct? So here now, Servlet can be used for developing dynamic web applications. What Servlet can be used? For developing the, which one now? Dynamic web applications, correct? Dynamic web application means there will be interaction between the client to server, server to the database. All the places there are different sort of interactions which is going to take place, right? So Servlet, as I said, while I was starting the class, at that time itself I said it here. What is that? Servlet is what here now? Is the server side component that receives requests from the browser. Web browser, what we are calling it as a web client. In further things, in further lectures, you will be able to understand it here. You will listen it. What is that we are talking about, right? So here server side component which receives requests from the web browser. It is receiving some request from the web browser. Process the request and sends the response back through the web browser. Okay, now see, I'll just explain it here, guys. When I'm talking about the dynamic web application, what is that now? It's a dynamic web application we are talking about. What is that dynamic web application, guys, we are talking about? Understand here. When I'm saying here dynamic web application. Here is the dynamic web application we are categorically talking about. The dynamic web application is what something? What is this dynamic web application? A client, see here, two parts we are dividing it here. Here is the client, or client side we are saying. This is the client. And here is the server side we are talking about. So one I am saying is the client side, second one what I am saying is the server side, guys, here. So let's get it into the point. What I am saying is the client side, second one what I am saying is the server side here, correct? So let's say here you are there, user. So in this case, when I am making it UN, username, so there are the place to provide the data. Here I am writing password. You are providing some data. Here you are writing submit. You are submitting it. Or in another form, you are writing register. So here when you are submitting it, fine. Or maybe you are clicking on this. So what you are doing, this is the request you are doing. You are clicking, you are providing. So what it will do, see now when you are providing user and name and password, so depending on that it can give you. So here is the servlet what we are using at present. Servlet we are using. So see here, servlet is taking this request. Now all internal details we will discuss it in here more in detail. So this request is coming to the servlet. This request is coming to the servlet. So when this servlet is taking the request, so first it is receiving the data. Servlet is taking the data, receiving the data. From where it is receiving the data? From the client it is receiving the data. What kind of data? Whatever the requests what you are making here, that data you are receiving. Who is receiving? Servlet is receiving that data. Are you getting my point? The servlet is receiving the data. Second one now. Processing the request. What it is doing? Processing the request. And third one again is sending response back to client. Sending response back to the client, correct? So here you are getting the response. Here you are getting response in the sense is, take it in a easy manner that you have some set of tasks. You are making some request. To whom you are making some request? You are making some request to that particular servlet. You are making that request. Based on that request, you are processing it, and after processing this request, you are sending back this request to the corresponding client. This is what you are doing it at present. This is how you are taking the things further. So when you are taking the request, what you are doing? You are taking the request, processing that request, and after processing that request, sending back that response back to the corresponding client. This is what you are doing exactly. Maybe while processing it, it may interact with some other component. That component is interacting with the database. I'm not naming any component. It is giving some, again it is sending some request here. You are getting some response. Here it is giving some response. You are getting it, correct? So this is what we will call it as a dynamic kind of applications into this case. In this particular one itself, the one here, what I am saying here, this particular part is you are accessing with the help of web browser. You are accessing. What you are accessing? With the help of web browser you are accessing, guys. You are accessing with the help of what? With the help of web browser you are helping. So this is whatever kind of requests you are making through these all things, you are getting the response back again into this case, correct? And this is what we will call it as a dynamic web application. And when we are learning the servlet, so we are going to talk, or we will be writing this all these different on the basic architecture. What we are going to use for our application is, this is how we are going to use it, and this is how we are going to process it here, guys. Correct now? Okay, so now let's have a look. Okay, and one more thing, like with the time when you have started Java, which is a core Java, so started learning some of the basic components. Basic component, what was that? What is JDK, what is JRE, what is JVM, and number of different basic concepts of the things you started learning in that case, correct? Now here in this case, now we will be learning some, again, few basic components related to all these things, that what, where and how it is being processing, and what all the basic terminologies which is being used in the case of web applications again and again. So that's what now we will be talking about. So just have a, the one which again I am talking about here is, see here, we are getting general technical terms. What is that general technical terms? We are writing here web server. What we are writing? It's a web server. Web client, web container, HTTP, TCP IP, DNS, web applications. Web server. Again I am saying web server, web client, web server, web client, web container, HTTP, TCP IP, DNS, web applications. This different sort of web technologies, web framework, HTML and all. These all are the, at least just now as I have shown it to you here, is the basic 10 terminologies what we are going to learn. What will be required for us in order to understand the different things here, different terminologies again. Correct now? So web server, web client, web container, HTTP, TCP IP, DNS, web application and all other sort of things which we are getting into this here. Okay. Let's have a look now here into this. Now when I am talking about web server, so what is the web server? And see, here I am just showing you the theoretical parts. The same thing with the same movement I will be explaining you here also. I'll be writing the examples on the basis of that, and there I'll be showing it to you what exactly web server is, what exactly web client is, how these all are interacting with each other. We are going to talk about that. We are going to discuss all that, correct? Okay, so just have a look now here. A web server is an application which receives HTTP request from the web client. Remember that point. Read it out properly. Read it out, guys, properly, because in a very simple language things has been written for you so that you can read it out, correct? Because whatever I'll explain you may remember at this particular time, but further you may not remember, right? So if this theory part is there, at least sometimes you can read it out, all this thing. So web server is an application which receives HTTP request from the web client. HTTP full form, do you know what is the HTTP full form? I'll come to that. So web server is an application which receives what? HTTP request from web client and process that request and helps web container and sends the response to the web client. Sends the response to the web client. Getting it? Here terminology is what you are getting. The terminology is what you are getting is very basic terminology is what you are getting again and again. And just now when I was explaining here, I explained all these things. What is the web server, what is the web client and all other sort of things that already I have explained to you all, right? But again I'll be coming, so I'll be keep on noting down all these things. One we are getting here is the first point what we are getting is the web server. Web server we are getting. What web server is doing? Receiving HTTP request from web client. So another terminologies which comes into the picture, which is a web client. If you want to relate here the web client, so that we can call web browsers in a simple terminologies. What we can call it as an, in a simple terminologies, we can call it as an web browser. Correct? Web browser is what? Your Mozilla, Chrome, Firefox, n number of web browsers are available, right? Now here, so say here, okay, so when we got it here, we have Apache server, Tomcat Apache we are having as a web server. We are more specifically in the case of Servlets, we will be talking about this Apache server itself, correct? So what is the functionality of servers and all? It provides a complete, you can say, the life cycle mechanism to handle the different requests which is coming from the client and processing it further. This is what the web server exactly talks about. Okay, we will come to that all. What is web client? So see, web client is an application. See, web server was also an application. Web client is also an application which sends the HTTP request to the web server, and web server receives and responds from the web server. Okay, now, so in these terminologies, when I say in the web server, so in web server there is one important point. The important point in the web server is the web container. Here we are talking about. What is that we are talking about now? Web container. Now what is the web container is doing? So again I am saying is an applications. See, there are again, application provides the services. So these all are not the services, these all are the applications, and these all different sort of applications, whatever here as it is I am talking about. These applications are providing different services. So that also we will be discussing what all different types of services these all different applications are providing here. So web container is an applications responsible of managing the complete life cycle of a servlet or JSP. Life cycle, again a terminology, I'll write it here. What is the life cycle of that? So here I'll write it here, life cycle. Here I am writing what exactly life cycle is, how we are going to talk about this all life cycle. Okay, so that is one thing which I am saying here, that is the life cycle of that complete application, correct? Life cycle of a servlet and JSP. And web container offers the free services. So here see, as I said, these all we are talking about life here is the applications. Applications I am saying here. This all which I am saying here is the application. I am talking about all these things as an applications, guys, here, correct? And these applications offers, each applications offers some services. Services here it is offering, correct now? So what kind of services now? Have a look here now. So web container which is there, so in this case here, two types of services what we are getting here. Low level services. So here web container services is, one is low level services, and second one what we are talking about is the, which one is the middle level services. What is that now? It's an middle level services. Middle level services. One I am saying here is the low level services. Second one what I am saying is the middle level services. These are the following things what we are getting into this. So one is the middle level services, and next one what we are talking about is the high level services, correct? Now what is low level services? IO streaming, net threads. When we will understand the life cycle, there we will understand what is the IO streaming, threads, networking. Whereas in the middle level services, resource management, life cycle management, declarative security management, JSP life cycle, and all other sort of things here, correct? So okay, now here are the some more explanations related to all these things. What is HTTP? Hypertext Transfer Protocols. In BTech or in your MCA and all things, whatever you would have done, or in BCA, you would have gone through all these things. TCP/IP, I'm not going again all these things here, right? What is DNS here? You see, DNS is Domain Name Services Registry. Okay, I'll be explaining web technology, servlet, web framework, struts, Spring MVC, JSF, and all other things. So guys, before starting the servlet, before going into the servlet, you need all these things, basic knowledge. And just now what we were talking about, web server, we will be using Apache, Tomcat Apache, web client, your web browser, web container which is there will be the part of web server, which will be providing two types of services, which is free of cost. One is the low level services, second one is the middle level services. What is low level services? You have gone through this in the documents, I have shown it there, and again I will be explaining you. And next one is the middle level services. What is middle level services? That also I will be explaining it to you, correct? Now we will be talking about the, okay, till these points, this all were the basic, you can say the things which you need to know before starting the servlet. If you are aware with all these things when you are starting the servlets, it's well and good for you. You will understand it again in a very better manner. You will come across the things like differently here, right? So we will start up with the, which one now? It's in servlet we are going to start, and the servlets which we will be talking about here in these cases here, right? So the next sessions I will be explaining with the what exactly servlets is and all other sort of things. On your screen some basic theory parts are there. Kindly go through these theory parts, and in the next class I will be sharing related all the different things associated with this. Thank you.